Hey guys, so today I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial on this dot pen, show you how I set it up. I'm using a couple of really cheap Amazon machines today just to make it easy for you. I always put a rubber band on it. A couple times is fine. It's just a standard number 12 tattoo rubber band. If you notice when you set this up that the holder at the bottom is offset to the main line, so it allows you to use machines like this to have the front facing screw. I try to leave as little room down here as possible. That's just me. You can adjust it depending on how big your hand is. This is a number 10 jelly roll I'm going to demonstrate with today. One thing you'll notice is when you put the pen in, it does kind of stick out at a couple degrees of an angle. That's on purpose. I got it set at about 2 volts, so we'll try that out. And go up just a little bit. One of the things I recommend is not putting a lot of pen out at the bottom. You don't want it sticking way down. It's easier to control it if it's closer to your hand. All right, so now before you start doing a masterpiece, I know that's gonna be what you wanna do first, don't do that. What you're gonna wanna do is start off with just practicing it. So this here is a piece of poster board. It's on a piece of felt. You get them both at the dollar store. But what you're going to want to do is just start with some parallel lines. So I'm going to do a few here. One of the things I like to do is kind of touch it down and get the ink flowing, and then start moving it. You can play with the speed. If it's too low, it'll kind of bounce. So you want it to hit really smooth, kind of glide along. I'm not pushing hard on the pen. In fact, I'm keeping my hand, all my fingers down there, and bracing the machine on my fingers so that the tip of the pen is barely touching the paper. And then just do practice lines, you know, until you get them to where they're all nice and perfect. You don't want ovals, you don't want dashes. You want perfect little dots, or at least I do. I mean, different people have different styles. So I would just do tons and tons of lines like this. Okay, so sometimes with this type of machine, direct drive rotaries, because it's going side to side at the top, if you notice the top of the needle is going back and forth, sometimes that'll translate down to the offset holder and make it kind of wobble at the bottom. If it's doing that, you can either use a machine like this, which just goes straight up and down, so you won't have that problem, or you can take your rubber band and wrap it around the top of the pen. If you do that, you're going to have to turn the voltage up just a little bit, but that'll keep it nice and still at the top. Okay, so another thing I recommend is wearing gloves. It makes your hand slide and keeps your artwork clean. Another thing is to use your other hand to hold down the paper next to where you're working. It's almost like tattooing where you have to stretch the skin. That keeps the paper from bouncing. When you're doing it, keep in mind that if you go in one direction, it's easier to keep good dots. If you try going back and forth, not so much. For me, it works best just to go outward, and I'm just kind of pivoting my hand. And so when you do that, you get nice clean round dots. If you want your dots more random, more like pointillism, you can crosshatch. And then just kind of go back in and fill in areas where there's little holes.